I taught myself to read in the period of between 9 and 11. I taught myself to read. So when I was attending nation meetings, they'd have shout out Sister Delia Mohammed. She used to, the speaker, whoever was speaking at the front, had been transcribing what's being said at the front. So while she's writing, I didn't necessarily know how to read or spell, but I'll copy everything she was writing. So as they're speaking and I'm writing, obviously the information is going in. I'm learning to read. And then I used to sell newspapers, Final Call newspapers, you might see, brothers in South London.
Yeah, I know Final Call.
Yeah,
I know Final Call.
they'll be selling the papers and stuff. So I used to do that with them as well. The papers they'd have, they'd have in the nation like the mother plane or like the UFOs is like always been like a big topic. So get these papers with these kind of images and stuff, and it'll be so intriguing. I just want to know what the information is. So I just, from what I was reading, was letting me know there's God in everyone. Allah is everybody. So, like in terms of the divine essence that gives us all life is in everybody. Anything that's alive has divine essence in it. So, looking for God or good in a person, you speak to the good in the person. You look for the good in the person and try to engage with the good in the person. And people that do that with you understand that's what they're doing. So I just look for God in people and let that father me. So, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you're dealing with a universe. I'm speaking to you. I'm dealing with the universe. But, even like the concept of multiverses as in all of these things, it's like everybody's a universe, isn't it? You're just dealing with the universe of how this person operates or, so it's like, it's just helps put things into context. So yeah, I know, man.
How did you get a name Anyway to God?
Right, so.
Yo! And we're live.
Yeah.
Anyway to God.
Oh, man.
And Isaiah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. Pleasure.
Thank you for coming down, man. Taking the time out, 100%. Okay. So I've heard your name. I say beginning of this year. Okay. And it's been drip feeding. Anyway to God, anyway to God, anyway to God, anyway to God, anyway to God. I'm like, okay. Thank you to Yao, Junior.
Yeah, no, big up, Yao, man.
You know what I mean? Okay. I'm gonna start at the beginning. Yeah. I'll start with all my guests. Where were you born? Where your parents from? And where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born here in the UK, Hammersmith Hospital. My parents being of Caribbean descent and Grenadian, St. Lucian.
Okay.
My grandfather is Barbadian.
Okay.
But part Barbadian, but part Bayesian, and there's just a long line of, what I mean. But my biological parents directly is mainly Grenadian, and my father St. Lucian, mother Grenadian, father St. Lucian, and I grew up. My growing has been spread out, sporadic. I say like. Early days, I think like my first address after being born is West London, but I know we lived in Battersea for a little while in my part of my infant years, and then moved to West London, Ealing, and then at the age of 6, I went to the Caribbean and I lived there till I was 9, so that's in Grenada, and then came back, and then went again when I was 11. Came back to the UK when I was 9. I went to school out there from 6 to 9. I'm in Grenada from 6 to 9. Came back when I was 9. Was living in West London and Slough for a little bit. Was moving around, and then went back to Grenada again when I was 11, and I came back when I was 18. But in between that time, so I've grown up. I lived in St. Lucia as well for a little while, about some months, and then I went to Grenada from there. But in between the time of growing up in the Caribbean, during the holiday periods, I always come back or travel to places and stuff with my mother, with my family, ever so often. So like, even in the Caribbean, I kind of grew up living in different households and different places. So it's kind of like boarding, kind of like for me. It's
kind of like what?
Boarding.
Oh, boarding,
like boarding. But I was living with family. I got a large family, got Lowe's family. So I was living with family out there. But I grew up in Grenada. My upbringing mainly was in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And I came back here. And then I've been here kind of ever since. So, yeah.
Okay. What's it like growing up in the Caribbean, in Grenada?
It's beautiful, man. You know, I grew up during the times when there weren't much like roads, dirt tracks, bush, trees, not much lampposts. Do you know what I mean? You still see what do you call them? What's the name of them? Them bugs that light up. Fireflies. Yeah, you know what I mean? A lot of fireflies. In my early days, I vividly remember, and not properly paved roads. But I loved it. Me personally, I loved it. It was a bit slow, in terms of what coming from a place where it was a bit more developed, I'd say, because it wasn't as developed as it is or looked as the UK does now. But then, it's still civilization here, and compared to the smaller islands and stuff, there is a great contrast. But to me, it was paradise, man. Like, I loved it. Beaches, rivers, streams, just sound. I was just at peace. I loved it. I was in my elements, could see the stars for as far as. Coming back, I've got a Nation of Islam upbringing as well. So
where in Grenada?
Here.
Over here. Okay.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
So during the times of whenever I was here, I was around the Nation of Islam, and then I'll be in the Caribbean. When I'm in the Caribbean, I'm with my family, who predominantly Roman Catholic. But the education out there, like, I'll say from the ages of when I went back when I was 11, primary, going into tertiary, going into secondary school, the education and stuff there, just a lot of life skills. You kind of learn how to just, do a lot for yourself and be a lot more self-sufficient.
What do you mean?
Just like life skills. I grew up learning how to, maintain a whole house.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Clean.
I get it, yeah. You're hands-on.
Yeah, hands-on.
You're
like,
hands-on, yeah.
Like, and not just sweep the yard, like clean guttering, go plant your own food and crops, go to like land that's not even near your house, go walk for time and pick fruits and vegetation, you know what I mean? Pick nutmeg, cocoa, whatever it is, dry cocoa, take it to the cocoa pool, you know what I mean? To sell it, take nutmeg to the nutmeg pool to sell it, you know what I mean? And mace and all of these type of things, using the byproducts of some of these things to make things that people are doing now, funny enough, and making, you see them making, businesses out of these things. I grew up in, cleaning the guttering, you know what I mean? Jogging cement when they started developing parts of the island and stuff, wherever he was in your village or community, the men that would be, mixing concrete and sand, concrete or sand and gravel with cement, will be helping them jog.
What age you talking?
This is the same, like 11, from 11 onwards. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Had my brethren, they'd go hunting for animals, fishing.
Kill the animals,
fishing.
got them,
like all of that. Yeah, grew up. We'd kill a whole cow. like, you know, remnants of it. Might just make a whole cow head soup for the, you know, the whole village. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of that kind of upbringing. Do you know what I mean? Went to school with my friends, is walking. We walked to school, walked back. You know, just involved in, you want to wash our own clothes. You know what I mean? Those who don't have, might not have, when we didn't have water, running water, we go to the river. Take our clothes to the river. Just knowing how to do things by yourself. You wash your own clothes, you know what I mean? You kind of know how to just kind of take care of yourself and help your family out and maintain your household. You know, especially around, see, like as this Christmas period now, what we'd be doing is spring cleaning the whole house and getting preparation for seeing the Christmas and the New Year in. As my like I said, predominantly my family is Roman. In the Caribbean, they're Christian, Roman Catholic. I think some of them, they might have changed now, like more with the Pentecostal side of things. But that's kind of like what the year in, year out regular MO was. And obviously me, I was like the only quote unquote Muslim. I went engaged.
So were you practicing?
At
that point? No, but I mean, at that point, were you actually committed enough to be practicing?
Yeah, like
nice.
So
nice.
when I was 6, I said I didn't know any, like, no better. Like, you know, not cognizant of things, I just eat what was given. But when I started to gain cognizance and I came back when I was 9, being in the nation, because you know, like I had heard things, but like I'm really starting to download the information and interact with it, because I taught myself to read. I taught myself to read in the period of between 9 and 11. I taught myself to read. So when I was attending nation meetings, they'd have shout out Sister Delia Mohammed. She used to, the speaker, whoever was speaking at the front, would be writing for the writing or transcribing what's being said at the front. So while she's writing, I didn't necessarily know how to read or spell, but I'll copy everything she was writing. So as they're speaking and I'm writing, obviously the information's going in. I'm learning to read. And then I used to sell newspapers, Final Call newspapers. You might see brothers in South London.
Yeah, I know Final Call.
Yeah,
I know Final Call.
They'll be selling the papers and stuff. So I used to do that with them as well. Used to get papers, sell papers, minimum.
So what age is this in?
This is like 10, like 9,
9 years old.
10,
before
9,
you
10,
go on at 11,
11.
before you go back. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Before I went back. So it's like, you know, like I said, like my upbringings, you know, it's a lot of mix. It used to, and because I was getting the papers, I'm like, I don't know. I think even at that age, I was always like a thing. I'm selling papers. The papers they'd have, you know, they'd have in the nation like the mother plane or like the UFOs is like always been like a big topic. So get these papers with these kind of images and stuff, and it'll be so intriguing. I just want to know what the information is. So I'd start wanting to figure out what these things say. It just kind of, all of these things kind of encouraged me to want to read. So I kind of taught myself to read through those processes. And when I went back, the information was so, it just all made sense to me.
It's fresh,
yeah. It's fresh,
you
and
got it. It makes sense. It makes sense. It does make sense.
And this is a thing with me, because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of other information, but it didn't necessarily click the same. So certain things clicked, and when it clicked, it just made sense. So like things like not eating pork around this time in the Caribbean, pork eating is rife. You know what I mean? They're curing pork from all now till time to, you know what I mean, make or prepare it however they want to prepare it for the festive season. And by the time I went back, I wasn't eating none of that. My mom gave me a Quran, and some of the books that I was already engaging with, and I didn't necessarily grow up with I didn't grow up with my biological parents. I'm like a man of many mothers. Like I said, I lived in different households, so my pining kind of like for my parents, my biological parents, like my mum more so, I'd read these things, so just to kind of feel close to her, because she kind of is one of, I've still got the Quran to this day. So she covered it in a blue cloth, and she had this gold glitter pen that she just wrote Holy Quran on top of it. With. So I just used to read that. I used to get teased.
What, back home?
Yeah, because I was the only person, like,
Yeah.
now everybody else is just something else, innit? So, and I'm the only one, and I'm like 11, 12, you know what I mean, reading these things, because I started secondary school at 13. So yeah, 11, 12, more so, I'm reading these things, 13, reading these things, and, you know, just I'll be outside reading it and not necessarily understanding what, because it's the translation is very Shakespearean.
Or the English translation.
Yeah, the English translation is very Shakespearean. Yeah. So like I knew like the prayers and stuff in Arabic, but you had the Arabic writing. I couldn't read that. I could just read the English. So I read the English. I didn't understand what I was reading, but I'd read it. And I just felt at peace reading it. And then I had other books like The Supreme. It was 2 books mainly. It was that and a book in the nation called The Supreme Wisdom. Those were my 2 books that I just grew up reading and taking in, like, and whenever they'd offer me certain things and I say I'm not eating that, and they saw they couldn't get me to eat it, they kind of just left me to my devices and stuff. But like I learned all majority of my life skills that I use to this day, just growing up in the Caribbean, and you know, just learn to take things from everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like it taught me to kind of find and identify or look for, you know, just
the positive things
positive
you need or you want.
Yeah,
that's the best way.
So it's like,
that's
man, I used to go to like a very agricultural in our culture. Like I said, visiting land, etc. And I wouldn't just go with my family. I'd go with my friends to help them in their land as well. So it's like, you know, I became green fingered, knowing how to prune and how to you know, they some of them would rear animals and whatnot and that, and you know, just you pick up little things, you know, that you maybe one day I might apply if God permits or not. But you know, just things I was interested in, just very observant, learning. Cause they would, I'm not from there. I'm learning.
Okay, so you're a visitor essentially.
Yeah, kind of like
because you're born here.
I'm born here.
You're moving around, but then you've gone there for a little stopgap.
Yeah.
So what they're doing normally is fresh to you.
It's fresh.
So you need to now get
I want to fully immerse myself, and I didn't really have a choice, but I was a very willing participant until I basically am a native. Do you know what I mean? So but you know, I moved around with lots of different groups and lots of different people. Do you know what I mean? And you know, yeah, man, like it's a very interesting upbringing. I probably.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good, man.
Tell you more, man.
So how did you find it when you got back? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I got back, I came back in 2003. And 2002.
Hold on, you went there, you came here for secondary school, no?
Nah.
So you stayed there from that 8 to
secondary to 18 and came back when I was 18.
Yeah, how was it when you came back? Yeah.
It came back. It was alright. Like
was it like advanced? You know what I mean? Did you come back and it's like in the future, something like whoa?
Nah, not at all. Like because like I said, I used to travel in between.
Oh yeah, true.
So like
true.
I kind of
you're visiting anyway. Yeah.
And it's weird. Again, like because of what I was reading, some of the things I was reading, other children weren't reading. And
quick one. Let's backtrack for 1 second. The other book you said you were reading, what's it called?
Supreme Wisdom.
What is that?
It's a book. So basically, in the nation, believe that God is a man. And we believe that God came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. So Master Fard Muhammad, for those who know about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teacher. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad calls him God, or Allah appearing in the person of this person. So that's the person who taught him, and he gave him these lessons that he had to answer. So there's some sections in there that you read. It just gives you very a mathematical language explanation of God, in the way of exposing you to his mind, or asking you questions that will, giving you information and asking you questions that will kind of unlock or help you think of things in a way, or try to perceive things in a way that God sees things. Yeah, so, and it's very, what's the word? It's very, what's the word? I want to use the right word. It's very, it's something you hear. It's like, all right, you know about the 5% Nation. You hear the 5%ers, or like you listen to Wu-Tang and
your Supreme Mathematics.
Yeah, Supreme Mathematics. So that's what it all came from. Basically, that book is what.
So that's the original.
Yeah,
that's Supreme Mathematics.
Right, yeah, that's where.
So Supreme Mathematics came from that book.
From that book. So there wouldn't be no
5% Nation
without the Supreme Wisdom book. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have a Supreme Wisdom book, or they created one as well. So obviously the Supreme Wisdom, the 5% Nation, they
got Supreme Mathematics.
They got Supreme Mathematics that was given to them by who they call Father Allah, or Clarence 13.
Yeah.
Clarence 13X was part of the Nation of Islam. You got those lessons from
that. I know
Wisdom,
about. Yeah.
Like you'll see people talk about it. Some people talk. I think Busta Rhymes did an interview and he spoke about it. I think after doing a song with Rick Ross called Fraud Muhammad. Okay. And he talking about him coming selling silks, but that was one of the books I read. I didn't do. There's a particular part of the book where you actually have to solve problems. Okay. Yeah, some like what problems? Some mathematical problems. Like it's worded, but you got to do the maths. You have to do a mathematical breakdown. But it goes into like science. It goes into medicine. It goes into business. It goes into finance. It goes into economics. It deals with a lot. It covers a lot. But when you're solving these things, you might not necessarily appreciate it at the time. And then when you start to delve into it, because it will ask, the question will be about health problems, or like how many times a person's heartbeat may have beat for the period of their lifespan if they lived up to 40-something years, and they had this particular ailment, that particular ailment. The doctor prescribed this amount of pills, pounds of pills you got to do. It teaches you dimensional analysis. So you're solving things, not necessarily appreciating what it is you're solving. So it's like those kind of things. And like one of the, shout out Brother Micall Muhammad. He's also my stepfather. And my brothers, we went through those problems. Like we actually tried to solve these things, and it just kind of again just gives you another. Makes you look at life just differently and see things, and gives you like a problem solution oriented mindset. I've always had that anyway, but like more in an applicable way. So it's one of those things that definitely like open my eyes and open my mind, even engaging with it before I did the problems and stuff. But it's just one of those things that these things have just had a heavy influence in my train of thought, my way of thinking.
At a young age as well.
At a young age, so I saw things. I literally like I grew up. I used to just I look for, like you said, the good, the positives in people. You know what I mean? And with like not having my parents, I think it kind of my biological parents, pining for them, because I grew up predominantly around women. So majority of the households until I was 13, and then I lived with my grandparents when they moved cause they were over here. I'm working, and then they moved back to Grenada. So by the time they moved back, I just started secondary school when they were settling in, still settling in. And that was the first time I lived in a household with a male, being my grandfather in the household. So that, like...
How did you find it?
It's different.
If you're the only man in the house, you got certain freedoms and everything.
Yeah. But no, but not, to be honest, not really. I don't know, man. It's like, it's weird because, like I said, man, like I moved around. I moved around, like being with it was different. It was different, definitely. But like, I wouldn't say I had the freedom even when I was with. I kind of had probably. It was the same in terms of freedoms.
Okay.
But, with the women,
very emotional.
Yeah, very emotional. I think a lot of their, and when I say household of women, is my granddaunts, my cousins, my grandcousins, their children, but they're all girls. So, and they're not with any of their, quote unquote partners, so to speak. So I'd hear a lot of
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The gripes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, indirectly, directly and indirectly, sometimes these things get taken out on the males, and just hearing these things, you know what I mean? And just when I just moved to the Caribbean, the first male that I encountered, may God rest his soul, Uncle Ira, he was on his way out. He passed away. So, there was no male presence like that. You know what I mean? Active male presence is a dying man. Then the next time after that was my grandfather. So, but yeah, he, that was the dynamics of that was new. But it didn't really, like, I kind of had already had the mindset from the books I was reading.
Of who you are.
And God being my father. I'm like, God is my father, man. Yeah. God fathered me, and like, that's it. God is my father. Where there was a lack of male, I just settled with the mindset that God fathered me. I'm just letting God father me. And I look for God in people. So from what I was reading, it was letting me know there's God in everyone. Allah is everybody. So, like, in terms of the divine essence that gives us all life is in everybody. Anything that's alive has divine essence in it. So, looking for God or good in a person, you speak to the good in the person, you look for the good in the person and try to engage with the good in the person. And people that do that with you understand that's what they're doing. So I just look for God in people and let that father me. So, you know what I mean? My male brethren was my dad. Do you know what I mean? My two male teachers in primary school, my male teacher in primary school, Mr. Fare, and my first 2 years in secondary school, Mr. Kipling. These people cultivated me in a way, helped me understand certain things about life as men, whether they appreciated it or not. Just kind of helped me figure things out. You know what I mean? As I was going through, life as a young male, a young boy. Do you know what I mean? So that's just me. That's how I just.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's
to be able to discern that at a young age is very, very. It's not. Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. Seriously powerful. Yeah.
That's kind of like that's just been my mindset. Man.
Okay. So back in the UK. So talk me through coming back. When you got back, how did you fit in? When you got back here, what was your goals? Okay, in the Caribbean, what was your goals and plans? And when you got back here, what was your goals and plans? What did you do?
I'll be honest. When I was in the Caribbean, I didn't know what I would. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I was still figuring that out. So, like I said, I was just allowing. I'm there. I'm learning. I'm learning what I'm learning. So I'm doing the academic thing, but majority, my thing was always music. I used to like doing extracurricular activities, but then I always got discouraged from doing extracurricular activities as soon as I started getting good at it or liking it. So like I used to play steel pan, started getting good at it. My grandmother told me that I can't do it no more. I started doing, I think I wanted to join Cub Scouts or something like that. I started attending, learning extra little things, but you know, things was already doing, but they travel. You know, they do programs where they go to other islands and stuff and camp and whatnot. And that those things got taken. I wasn't allowed to do those things. I started writing poetry from I was 11. And that was the only thing, because it was the only thing I kind of had control over. I just kind of kept with that, just writing. And I developed a passion for writing. So I knew what I would like doing and what I thought I wanted to do, and which I still kind of wanted to do. So I either wanted to be a journalist or a teacher. Those were the two things. Before that, when I was like 6, I think I wanted to be a pilot. Okay. Yes, I wanted to fly. Yeah. And the reason being was because I got exposed to flying for the first time. No, all before that, my mum she used to work for British Airways, so I used to go on the planes with her. So I always wanted to be a pilot. And then, but as I grew and I had developed, my mum was my pen pal. So like I said, I pined for my mum. So when we wouldn't talk on the phone a lot, but we'd write. So we'd write each other, and I'd copy her handwriting. So I developed like my handwriting style. I was into calligraphy. Those were like little things I find therapeutic. So in doing that, I ended up writing poems. Yeah, and but yeah, I said it was either journalism or teaching. And then that was in Grenada. When I came back, I was looking to get into something to do with writing. So we was looking at journalism courses. I ended up doing youth work with shout out and may God rest her soul, Christina Brooks Abraham. My auntie, she was somebody, when I came back, I ended up living with another household of women. So I came back and she was running these summer workshops where they'd teach cooking classes, dance classes. We ran music sessions and stuff. So she inducted me or brought me into the fold, and was helping them run workshops. I got into that. Hurricane Ivan hit. Okay. In 2003. So the island got wiped. I was waiting for my qualifications from secondary school to come for me to go college, and because of the hurricane, gone. So the option was to start from scratch, just do like an English and maths course for I don't know however long, but however long they said it was not appealing to me. I'm like, by the time I've done this and I'm allowed to do this course, I'll be 20. I should have probably just done it. But saying that, I had hope that I'd get the thing in time to go do or try out. But I never ended up going college. I never ended up going university. And I just kind of stuck with doing the youth work. I ended up, doing that. So I'm back to kind of figuring out what it is I want to do and just trying to settle. And I'll be honest, man, I'm not even going to lie. I feel like I'm still kind of in the same place, just trying to figure out. I don't really fit in. I've never settled. I don't think I'm supposed to settle in this place. Me personally, maybe I'm not supposed to settle in this country, but I haven't really settled. I have not.
In what way?
Like, I haven't settled here in terms of, like, put down any roots aside from, like, what I do in terms of, like, doing youth work, just helping facilitate projects and things for people. Like, I've just been being creative in doing music. Like, just having a passion for writing and expressing myself. That's kind of been the thing. But I know whatever it is that what I feel like I'm here to do has always been in education. So I'm 18. By the time I'm 22, 23, I'm formulating ideas of wanting to build a school. So that's what's really in my head and my heart. So, but I don't know if I'll say this because as you're asking me these questions, it's good. I'm not. The school is not. It's not. I'm not trying to build. I don't feel my school is to be in one place. If that makes sense. I'd like to set up boards. You know what I mean?
Set up
boards, like schooling boards in different countries and stuff. Yeah, like, so that's kind of a traveling school where you're actually traveling. Like, again, just the books and stuff I was reading and interacting with. I remember reading Elijah Muhammad saying, the best way of learning is to travel. And I'm kind of like testimony and proof of that. I have not, like I said, I've just done primary, secondary education in my life, and everything else I've done tertiary level things. I tutor as well, so I've even, done tertiary level educational things, worked with people that in tertiary level or higher level education, and kind of able to keep up based on the things that I've learned, things I've read, things I've kind of self-taught. But I think traveling is the best way of learning, and that's from me traveling and having these experiences kind of what expanded my mind and broadened my capacity to feel like I can kind of take on or deal with anything or solve anything or come up with solutions for anything, for things, kind of just in an easy way. In an easy way. So yeah, man, to your question is I think I'm here to just kind of help build some institution, to build build a institution of education. That's my thing in whatever capacity that is. So I do music, I tutor maths and English, and I've got formulated ideas of establishing what I'm speaking about. But as you're asking me the question, I'm realizing when I'm remembering
at that point where you were, remembering
that point, and kind of what kind of led up to that, because that's always been my thing. It's kind of always been my thing. Growing up, I've always had young children around me. Like kind of around me, like kind of like being like a big brother, or I've always been
mentor. You've always been a mentor.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah, and then I'll be around adults. I'll be the young child around a whole bunch of adults. So I'd very rarely hang around or be around my own age group for too long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, man, it's a lot, and I learned a lot. Like I think. Before you find out certain things about, like, I don't believe in certain things, but like just how my memory works and how my mind works, things I've learned through my travels and my journey, and still learning. I'm learning a lot. I think that's what is kind of a leading towards, me being in education and doing things that help, like mentor.
Yeah.
And
so the thing you sent me, the UOU?
Yes, UOU. So yeah.
Okay. Let's come to that, because it's a nice segue, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So talk to me about
UOU. That's kind of the what I want to call my educational establishment. So, this is me just putting things out there in the ethos. I've had this for these ideas for a while. My son could bear witness. But UOU stands for...
You could talk, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk, feel free.
Yeah,
if you go, while he's talking, if you got questions, if you there's something that he said that you want a bit more clarity on, just say it. Yeah, don't be shy.
Feel free.
Relax.
Feel free to ask, because he's probably hearing a lot of this for the first time.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm watching his face.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
watching his face. You're
That's
talking,
right.
I'm watching his face. Like,
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
So,
Yeah, UOU.
UOU stands for University of the Universe. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah, I was going to ask you what that stood for. Yeah, but
so
it doesn't say it, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't say.
No, it doesn't
that's
say it.
right.
It just says UOU.
And there's a reason for that, because it's like you owe it to yourself. You know, that's how I've always felt. Like, we grew up in a world where, you know, some of us are given things, some of us had to go get things. But we owe it to ourselves to utilize and use. You know, the life that we have was given to educate ourselves about ourselves. I mean, so it's the universe of you. You know what I mean? It's this each, again, reading the books, that all of this stuff is Nation of Islam inspired, but you know, some of the things I do, it's easy for me to kind of just tailor to, you know, the broader audience. But it stands for UOU. It's the University of the Universe, and I got it from the Nation of Islam's books. Again, like Elijah Muhammad saying things like you can have a university under a tree. Was listening to a lecture the other day about mastery of self and the universe, where Farrakhan's talking about the most undiscovered and undeveloped mind. The undiscovered and undeveloped universe is your mind.
Fact.
Yeah. So things like that, it's just like I've grown up with this stuff, so it's influenced and inspired a lot of my thoughts and ideas and how I choose to approach things, even music, everything I try to approach. Do you know what I mean? I just try to approach from a standpoint of the biggest picture, or the, you know, holistically, you know, as wholesome as possible, where, you know, it's easy for me to put things into context and perspective and gain perspectives, the missing perspectives I may not have. Do you know what I mean? So, like, my son might see things in a way I don't, but, like, my mind's always open, I try to strive to keep my mind always open to other people's perspectives. It's not easy as you get older.
I know. I know that. Trust
as you get older, it's not easy.
No.
But it's like naming these things or titling these ideas or these thoughts reminds me, just kind of keeps me in that space where just remember. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're dealing with a universe. I'm speaking to you. I'm dealing with the universe. But, you know, even like the concept of multiverses, as in all of these things, it's like everybody's a universe, isn't it? You're just dealing with the universe of how this person operates, or, you know. So it's like helps put things into context. So yeah, my whole thing is to help children discover the universe of themselves, or, you know, unearth their talents. Unearth their gifts and talents. A lot of us. You said you watch podcasts. I saw this thumbnail, Trevor Noah, on the CEO podcast. You know, this generation is producing aimless men. You know what I mean? When you see things like that, you know, just trying to be what's contrary to, you know, the evidence that's there and what you're seeing even in front of you. Just a lot of our young suffering from, and our people my age, you know, people passing away or dealing with mental health issues and all kind of stuff, or depressed, and, you know, things that could easily be kind of a fix once another perspective or another viewpoint is given, that could kind of change a person's mind instantly. You know what I mean? It's like, people, depression, I was taught, anytime you're depressed, it just means you're ungrateful. You know what I mean? It's a sign of it.
Where were you taught? Who taught you that?
I learned again in the nation.
Okay, now I just want to know where it came from. So go on, explain that to me now.
Specifically,
Explain that to me now.
Specifically from another minister, a female. May God rest her soul, because she passed away. Minister Ava. Depression is associated with ingratitude. It just means is a sign of ingratitude, because to be depressed when you got life, you know what I mean, it means you don't know what you
don't value.
Yeah, and you don't see yourself, or in relation to yourself or the world.
But if somebody, my thought is there's always somebody worse off.
That's right.
But I've never heard it put like that.
Yeah, it's a sign of ingratitude. And sometimes it just is. It's not that you're not gonna go through depression. You can.
But if you could remind yourself, like you said, just remember. If you could remind yourself that, hold on,
there you go.
What am I being ungrateful for?
That's right.
Then you could probably snap out of it like that. Because the minute you start thinking, what I always think is that regarding depression and sadness and that is, I start looking at everything I got. Everything.
That's it.
I look at my family. I look at literally everything. Then I look at somebody else who I know does not have what I have. Then I just say to myself, what are you doing?
That's
Now,
right.
you call it just remember, and I appreciate
That's
that.
right.
Like, I'm going to take that now. I'm going to borrow that. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, take it. That's the point. Listen, nothing belongs to you.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
it.
I'm feeling that.
And that's the point. I'm grateful. Like, I've got the chance to have these conversations, because it's through dialogue. You again, we learn, like you said. We learn. This is all about learning. But it's not even just what you have. It's not appreciating what you could do. What you could do, I might not be able to do. You know what I mean? But we need each other.
Correct. Yeah.
But how are you able to kind of make yourself feel good in any way, shape, or form when you don't even appreciate what you have?
Because sometimes you genuinely can't see what you've got.
Yeah.
Because sometimes other people could see like stuff you got, like you got this gift or this blessing, and they're like, you could do that with that, and you might not see it yourself.
That's right.
But you still have to appreciate the little you think you have.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, I just look at other people, and sometimes I'm just like, I never laugh at no one, and I just think to myself, you know what? Things could be much worse for me. You know what I mean? I pray for that person, and I just keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So you, I'm going to pop a link in the video, guys. Please check it out. That's going to be, it's more music
It's more music.
Music
Music central. So yeah,
centered. Yeah, because more.
Centered.
Yeah, explain
So
to the audience so they know what we're dealing with.
So
you know?
The initiative is to I provide and facilitate music services for young people. I currently run with Slough Music rap shop in Chalvey at Slough and Eton in Chalvey on Wednesdays for ages between 9 to 18, and that's shout out Rebecca Richardson. That's an initiative brought to me by her, that she suggested to the Kebby, the brother, and then
Joker Star.
Yeah, Joker Star.
Yeah.
He referred her to me.
Okay.
So I ended up, but because I've been doing this. I was already doing this. I was doing it before. I do make music and stuff with my children. I try to make stuff for children, encouraging like all of us, to be fair, but more so tailored and focused with children, and it's making music to aid and facilitate education. So it's just like how, we used to sing to remember certain things. I grew up, like I said, in the Caribbean. We used to sing our prayers at the morning, sing our prayers before we go to lunch, sing our prayers at the end of the day. So sing songs to learn. You know what I mean? It's just like how they pass stories down in villages and stuff through songs. So my whole thing is just creating music for educational reasons and purposes and stuff as well, but not using my voice. I want the kind of you, because I hear a lot of programs with, you know, just a lot of adults making stuff, and sometimes it's just good children hear themselves, and I think it's just a bit more refreshing, and you know, that's just one aspect of it. But it's to facilitate, it's to help me facilitate and produce greater quality services, because I've been using, I've been doing this for a while, and I've been using and utilizing or funding a lot of these stuffs and projects and stuff. I've got projects out there for free from my own pocket. Yeah, I haven't really been relying on no
grants.
Yeah, nothing. Nice. Yeah, so I've just literally been funding because it's just in me to do. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I've got a lot in the cut. I just need to finalize or get it to the standard that
quality and standard.
Yeah, quality and standard, because I don't want to just put a kind of I'm a bit beyond that now. Kind of did that in the past. I'm beyond that. So as I'm trying to up the level and trying to, as I've got children, I'm trying to be an example of the standard, you know, just raising the standard. They need to see progression and improvement, even for myself, because that will cause depression if you're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
You got to keep reminding yourself. So I know what, like you say, just using reminders, you know, or creating reminders, things that is easy to remember and remind. Because we could remember things for a day, and I find this with the short attention span thing, especially with social media and with our youth, is a real thing. The only things they remember is songs. So that's kind of been my inspiration and, you know, thought process when it comes to just trying to make
tailoring something for that short burst, so they can get it,
and it's easy for them to remember, because they'll remember something now and then they'll forget it tomorrow. I mean, it happens with my son all the time. He would tell me the most profound things. Ask him what he said, can't remember. And this is the thing, it comes from how do you not remember what you said? If I don't record it, you won't remember. And it's not that you can't remember. Again, sometimes it's just how
information comes and goes.
That's it.
It just comes fast now. So as it comes, you got it. And it's gone.
You don't hold on to it, and that's what it is. It's like what will make you hold on to it. So I feel sometimes it's just, you know, just putting them through the rigmarole. Like I did a session recently or yesterday, and getting them to perform, getting them to try and remember things and say it loud and be confident in saying it, to impress it.
So you performance workshops.
Workshops.
You do performance work? Is it live performance workshops?
Live performance workshops, creative writing workshops. That's it, and recording. So once I got the equipment, I will teach them, because a lot of them do have the equipment at home, you know. But I'm also trying to encourage them to you know, make productive things that mean something to them, that kind of whole, like, what do you value? Just finding out what it is you value, what influences you, what's your sphere of influences, getting them to identify what their sphere of influences are, and, you know, picking out the best parts and incorporating that in your creativity, you know, especially in a culture where there's a mix of everything, because you got the good and the bad, and the good mixed with bad. Sometimes it can have, the effects can go either way. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like just encouraging them and encouraging self-confidence and belief, but getting them more so to focus on themselves, because a lot of our young, their attention is on what is on, but it's not, they're self-absorbed, but not self-absorbed about self. It's weird.
Go on, explain
you know
that.
What I mean?
Explain
in the sense of, you know, they like what they like. You know, it's like, I want sweets, but sweets are not good for you. I don't care if sweets are not good for me. Do you know why it's not good for you? This is why it's not good for you. I don't want to know why it's not good for me right now. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a smoker, so I can't even say. No, but I can't even say that. But it's not. It's the same principle.
It's not to be judgmental, but in terms of like, all right, how things were for us back in the day, it's not for them now. Like now, it's just a lot worse. It's just children that get things that you never heard about. That you just like I got friends. I know people that's passed away from all kind of ailments and disease, younger than me, you know, my son's age, cancer. You know, I had a friend of mine in his 20s passed away from cancer. He had a brain tumor. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of these things sometimes is just based on stress and diet, or, you know, and sometimes it's just, you know, things that could prevent if you just knew or just took some time to focus on yourself and identify what's wrong with you. Because a lot of us are walking around not knowing what's wrong with us until it's too late. And this is just as youth, as young people. Do you know what I mean? A lot of them are on prescription meds, etc. And sometimes, again, you don't need the pills.
It's not necessary, I get that 100%.
You just need to focus on yourself. But why I say that, like, they'll be on drugs, but still self-absorbed. It's like everything has to kind of be sent. It's now everything is centered around you, but you're not centered around you. You know what I mean? You're
looking outwards instead of looking inwards.
There you go. See, it's like that's you put it perfectly. So it's like it's just getting them to think. It's like I asked them. I tried to get them to think about, you know, just tell me like good things about you or list some good qualities. It's so hard for them to just list good qualities about themselves. And that just goes to show you how much they don't really think about themselves. They don't look at what I'm saying. And this is looking for good things. It's not like they know the bad things they could do.
If you ask them bad things, they'll be like bang, 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 bang.
But it's, you know, just getting them to, because it's good to know the bad things, but you need to know the good things about you. You need to know and be able to describe and mine out and find or cultivate your good characteristics, and then see where those characteristics may fit and where they can be applied in your life and in the world if it is you want to, whatever it is you may want to be. So, you know, even like, you know, just attaching it to what it is they want to be, and then get them again to think about their sphere of influences of okay, this is what I want to be. What type of influences do I need around me if I need to be this? Do you know what I mean? So they start thinking in a tangible way and start taking responsibility for themselves and their lives because they believe they're responsible. Do you know what I mean?
I get
so
that.
it's like,
I get that.
Yeah, first and foremost, first responsibility is and foremost for you. So how are you going to be responsible for somebody you don't know? And you're talking about yourself. So it's just things like that. Do you know what I mean? But that's kind of the initiative.
No, I get that.
You know?
That's good.
That's what the initiative's about. So yeah, I use music to do that. Make it very as self-reflecting and self-focused as possible, but in a real way. Do you know what I mean? So it's
it'd be good. I'd love to come and see see the workshop at play. At work. I don't want to say at work, workshop at work, but I want to say in motion. Yeah. But okay.
Beginning stages.
So what I was gonna say, the fact that you're putting the workshop together through music, the reason you're doing that is why your name is popping.
Okay.
You got bars, bro.
I appreciate it.
You do, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, you know what I mean? You can spit. You know what I mean? Like, you're a musician. So talk me through that. So when you've come back, how long did it take you to get to the point where you're like, you're making music now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it took me a while. Like I said, I've been writing poetry for a while. I kind of kept that on the wraps. As soon as I came back, one of the first workshops I attended was in a music workshop in Manor Park in Slough. I think that's the first place I met Rebecca Richardson as well. So she wasn't there at the time, but I think in passing. But they were running a music workshop there, and I attended while I was doing the youth workshops with Marnie Christina, and that group. I kind of just started to try things out, and then one of the other people when we was running the workshops with, shout out Mad Hatter Mars, Marlon, he used to spit, you know what I mean, grime and stuff back in them days, and even like he's known like even in and around Reading and stuff, with Data and
Okay,
Smiley,
Smiling Data,
yeah. So he's kind of like of the same age group, the same ilk. I mean, they all kind of known each other for back in the days. He was a part of Scandalous crew back in the days. So he's the one that kind of encouraged me, like inspired me in a way, and encouraged me to just like, yeah, man, just give it a go, innit? So used the whole little ciphers, and then I kind of just kind of use it to kind of cultivate and express some of my thoughts and ideas. In grime, it was, in grime, I kind of was been doing the hip hop thing. I made my little hip hop thing of spitting in an American accent initially, because that's what I was listening to growing up on Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep and KRS-One and all of that. But later on, fast forward, I started working more in youth services, and as we're doing music workshops and stuff, doing stage performances, with Vibe and Motivation. That was the name of the charity or the company Christina was running these workshops and stuff through. So we do cooking, like I said, dance and music production and recording, etc. And also put her and her daughter Tanya Brooks Carty and Claudine Carty, they put on plays, production plays. Ended up in Wickham Swan and even Hackney Empire. And I got to, all of these things were like part of what helped me develop, or just start acclimatizing to being on stage and acting and performing kind of a thing, or doing things to entertain audiences, etc. But I would always think about what I want to say. You know what I mean? And then later on, kind of when that kind of started to phase out, I was working for Slough Youth Services, Slough Youth Centre in Slough. That's like when I'm meeting and them lot, Richard and Joker Star. Produced my own little CD and stuff, and shout out Mark Richardson. His was started rapping and recording songs and stuff with a bunch of people. Josh Cyrus, a bunch. I just started to get in the mix, and then like my music journey is so sporadic. It's just I've just always been around creatives, so it's more when I met Kebby, I kind of he started to take me to places and stuff, and I'll see him perform, and then he'll bring me on, and I started to go around. He started to go around. Within me and him, formed a group. With All My Life Fuchs' brother, initially Scratch Professor, called the Jones Brothers, and then it just ended up being me and him. But I was already I did like a little CD. This is like 2007. To give reference point or put a marker, I did a little demo CD that I was giving out. Printed up and made copies myself, me and Mark Richardson and Irvin, and printed up covers and just put in sleeves. I was giving out called Anyway, as I was saying, and it was just giving it about as many places as possible. And then me and Jokes, we started working on an joint album with Scratch Professor. It never came out. It's not out. It's but we just ended up formulating our own thing and just kept going around performing and stuff. So, like, if it's a lot to comb through. It's a lot to comb through.
I get it.
It's a lot to comb through, and I just never stopped. I kept making music. I think I tried to stop, but I couldn't stop.
That's your calling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely like my gift, and I said, it's something it's innate. It's something that is definitely innate and is a gift, and I intend to use to help, make my greatest idea a reality. To help serve us all, because my whole thing is service. So, you know what I mean?
I respect that.
Man. Yeah, man.
How did you get a name, Anyway to God?
Right, so my name is, the name is a full sentence. It's actually anyway the God is real. So, because as you kind of you might, I was kind of, as you got me to kind of explain, I've always felt flippant, like a flippant thing in my life, like in life in general.
What do you mean?
I don't know where I don't fit in. It's like I'm always at the end of a sentence, but nonchalant. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I'm in everyone's mouth, but not bothered about. It's like how you say anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it kind of like metaphorically, it just made me think of like how God, and I think it's just down to my experience. Like the only growing up in households of just females, growing up in Grenada, I'm interacting with this information. I don't have nobody else to speak about with reference to this information. It's blowing my mind. So I'd literally talk to God aloud. I'd go places and I'd just talk. And then I'm like, one day I was like, this is how God must feel. You know what I mean? Like, man's everywhere, but there's nobody, like, it's like you're not there. It's like I'm here, but I'm not. You know what I mean? So, and I've always felt like that. I've just felt like a flippant thing in the background. So it's like, yeah, anyway, the God is real. Like, God is real regardless, like, whether you acknowledge him or not. So that's just been my thing. So I just said, yeah, anyway. And then shout out Brandon Horsford, Mad Millie. I went to a show one day and he goes, I just used to call myself anyway. And this is way before Movado, yeah, people. So, because what's his name? Richard calls me like how Movado says anyway. But I went to a show one day and then I had to. There was a cypher going on and my brethren kind of coaxed me into joining in the cypher and I rapped, and then they asked me my name and then he said, "Anyway, the God." Yeah. So, and then I just kind of ran with it anyway. Since, but it's a full sentence. It's anyway, the God is real. So, like, regardless, like, God is real. So it's a flippant thing. It's like, anyway, everybody says anyway, innit? Well, you don't even realize you say anyway.
That's powerful.
You know what I mean? That's kind of my whole thing.
That's powerful. That's powerful. We're gonna end it on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much. Man.
Pleasure, man. Pleasure. Young man, you ain't even gonna talk. Yeah. Huh? You've been sat like, come on. Give us something, innit? You gonna talk?
Yeah, I can. I don't mind. I'll just talk. My name is Isaiah.
Okay.
And obviously, being his son, he's taught me a lot. And I'm about myself and what we as humans have the power to do, but a lot of us don't realize it. So with me, what I want to do is I want to be a chef.
Nice.
But with my own farm, so that I know where
you're getting supply from.
Yeah, where it's sourced from.
Yeah.
Because all of the madness that is going on with food, you can't really trust anybody else. So I'm doing I'm doing like a course on agriculture.
Nice.
On that. So, and that's it like helps a little bit. So, which is good. I need to have more of a plan ready to follow, because it's good to know what you want to do from now.
Facts.
So that you have more time to prepare. Because one of the things that my dad taught me was that put knowledge into your mind from young, so that and keep on, you know, reading and that, so that it's like there to take into life. So that's me, really.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah? DCN just sat in silent. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Yeah, you're gonna, when you pull that off, you're gonna be making a ton of money. Because people wanna eat, like same way, like we all know the food's poison, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're a chef and you got your farm and the food's coming from your farm to your restaurant, people are gonna pay a lot of money to come to your restaurant.
Yeah.
Or to buy produce from your farm.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna know. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Guys, thank you for watching and see you soon.
Yo,